Paperwork. Well, you know, because I've got to do inspections on all of the units, so it's a lot of paperwork, a lot of walking around, making sure everything's correct before we sign off paperwork and take care of it. But they're all doing, like I said, they're all doing a great job. This is week number 3, yes, and they're building exactly how we thought they were going to. They're making their mistakes, they're learning from their mistakes, they're starting to understand what it is that they're building as far as keeping things plumb, square, and flush and stuff like that. It's a new concept to a lot of them because they've always seen it built. Now they're actually putting it together and they're starting to understand how the process goes, you know, how you start from the bottom and work your way up. And a lot of excitement with the kids and the older people. Everybody's just showing a lot of excitement in doing this and looking for the next phase, because they'll look and see some of the projects are a little farther along and they'll go, oh wow, they've got their plywood on the walls already. So it kind of motivates them to work a little harder, a little faster, and seems to be working really good. This is the largest amount of students we've had, and it's a challenge, but they're all working out really well. It's great because we have not been able to find good labor force in this town for a few years now. And if these people stick with what they're learning and find a trade that they're happy with doing, this is what it's all about. Our subcontractors are excited to see them learning, and maybe they can pull some of the people out of here to become electricians, drywallers, plumbers. So we're all going to benefit from these schools because it's doing nothing but making our workforce better in this town.
Kind of a little sigh of relief.
Yes, a tremendous sigh of relief because, like I said, I've talked to all my subcontractors. They can't find qualified people. They're having to come and put their pouches back on and out in the field working instead of being the boss running the projects. So they're looking for good quality people that have learned, and this is how we're training them. You know, they have to be here on time. They have to put an 8-hour day in. They work all day long. They're understanding what that process is now. And it seems like most of them are enjoying it. As they're going along, we want to make sure that when they nail on plates for attachment, that they keep the plates pretty flush with all the wood and stuff, all the nails are in place, because those are critical attachments from the beam to the support post. And we have that top and bottom, and you can see how they have problems keeping everything flat. We'll go back through, when this one gets inspected for hardware, we'll flatten out some of the hardware to make sure it's not bulging out, because that'll hold the siding out a little bit. So we do that. We want to make sure that they've got their washers and their bolts in on their beam connections. And then we go through and start checking for clips and stuff. We have center bracing that has to be put in, and we check to make sure all the nails are in place. And then over here where we have our all thread rods that run all the way through, they don't have their rod in yet, but these studs all have to be connected to the bottom plate with H25s. That, and then we look to make sure that they stay flush, the plate stays flush with the beam. That's a critical thing, that everything lines up, the beam to the plate. So we go along and inspect all that to make sure that's done. We'll inspect to make sure that window sills are level and that the window is square up here, so when we go set our windows that everything lines up really nice. And again, you can see our hangers down here, our concealed flange hangers. We want to make sure that all the nailing's in and everything is lined up properly. So that's the biggest thing on framing. Of course, you're always going to be looking at your nailing, the spacing of nails. So it's a trick to get them all to understand 6 inches and 8 inch and all that as far as how much they space their nails and screws. It's for anybody. And my biggest thing is, if you like to work with your hands, you need to get into construction. Because I, as a young kid, my grandmother taught me how to build my first tree house. I was 6 years old. I have been building stuff ever since. And it's just something that I love to do. I love to work with my hand. I love to see something start from nothing and grow into a house, or like I did, set a tree house or whatever. But that's the excitement we want to get in these students, that they enjoy working with their hands. They enjoy seeing things grow from the ground up. And if that's what you're interested in, that's what you should get involved in. My biggest thing as a student in school was, I didn't learn real well with a book learning, but I worked with my hands. I could do anything. You could show me something one time and guess what? I could build it after that. So not everybody is a book learner. We need people out in the trades, and if you don't want to go to college, this is the next best option, because we're always going to need people out in the field working.
And trades provide a great
service to everybody. There's nobody in this town that doesn't need somebody to do work on their house. So the more you learn, and even doing handyman service, believe it or not, that's a big necessity in this town. People need somebody to come in to rehang a door, put some shelving in, frame a closet. What you can name it, there are going to be people out there that are going to need your services. The class is doing really well. They're a little behind, but the first build, we're always behind. We always have to play catch up at the end of the first build. And it's just something new for everybody. The next build, they're going to be quicker. The third build, it's going to be like lightning. You're going to be amazed at how quick they picked everything up. So I'm, like I said, this class is working really well for the amount of people here and the space we're in. Everything seems to be working nice.